Hey guys, how's it going? I hope you're having a great day. Crypto itself is not doing so great. When we take a look at what's going on with XRP, we are slightly in the green now. Just a little bit ago, this was actually in the red. We are sitting at about $1. I'll do a little bit more of an analysis towards the end of the video, but I do want to point out that on the day it dropped down just a little bit below $1, and we've seen it bounce back up now. But again, I'll talk about that more towards the end of the video. We do have quite a bit more crypto news to go over today. And also you can see Bitcoin's down a little bit, Ethereum, BNB, same thing. Not much, but they are down a tad bit. Dogecoin down a little bit more. Now moving on. Tomorrow, the SEC votes on the rule that could kill the closing bell. The innovation exemption would let tokenized stocks trade 24/7 on chain. So sit with the math. The New York Stock Exchange trades 32.5 hours a week. Your portfolio is frozen the other 135.5. That's 7,046 hours a year where a 60 trillion plus dollar market cannot move. Now the receipts. You have QQQ and SPY were already tokenized in DTCC production trades, with JP Morgan running the QQQ conversion. The XRP ledger is settled around the clock for 14 years. $4 billion in real-world assets live on it, with the DEX built into the protocol. Earnings drop after hours, wars start on weekends, markets stay locked. Tomorrow the freeze gets an expiry date, so definitely want to keep an eye on that. And breaking, U.S. stock market S&P 500 is now at its most oversold level in history. That's overtaking the 2008 peak. Not a great situation, but yeah, we do hit new highs at different points. How much higher this might go, we'll have to see. And massive yen crash in Japan. The USD and Japanese yen is already up another 2.8% for that pairing. Despite Japan's record $11.7 trillion yen intervention and United States yen support, usually this only ends one way. And it's looking more on the downwards, guys. Korean bond market is breaking down. Today, South Korea's 30-year bond yield hit 4.73%, its highest level ever. After the US and Japan, Korean long-term bond yields are going parabolic too, and this always ends badly. So we're not looking at just Japan. Korean market is also having a big issue. $400 billion added to US stocks as CPI comes in as expected and PPI comes in lower than expected. The money rotation has officially started. The Russell 2000 just hit a new all-time high of 3,067 for the first time in history. This is giga bullish for Ethereum and alts because historically they always follow Russell to new highs. Money is now flowing from mega cap stocks to mid cap stocks, and soon it will flow into crypto. That's according to Ash Crypto. I really hope that it starts flowing into crypto soon, but right now it looks like market's on the verge of major collapse. And from VET, good stuff. Evernorth is moving to a volume-weighted price for investor share issuance. At current XRP price, it means you'd get more XRP per share than before at debut, which was the third to fourth quarter 2026. So the USD NAV stays stable, but the amount of XRP is the variable. If XRP goes up, you get less XRP per share because one XRP is worth more in USD. Essentially backed by as much XRP as the standard $10 share target can have given XRP price. And XRP, XLM, and HBAR will be used to issue the Wyoming stablecoin. XRP and XLM gain access to the Wyoming stablecoin through integrations with Fireblocks, while HBAR serves as a bridge blockchain to the state-issued token. Ripple President Monica Long said in a statement that the XRP ledger has transitioned from bank pilot programs to full production use for tokenized assets like money market and liquidity funds. And Canada's big banks are quietly moving into XRP. Bank of Montreal has become the latest major Canadian bank to disclose XRP exposure through US-listed ETFs. BMO reported 323 shares of the Rex Osprey XRP ETF and 20 shares of the ProShares Ultra XRP ETF in its latest SEC filing. Its reportable investment portfolio exceeded $303 billion at the end of June. The disclosure follows National Bank of Canada, which also reported 3,848 shares of the Bitwise XRP ETF. Both banks gained XRP exposure through regulated investment products rather than directly holding XRP. The filing suggests Canadian banks are increasingly using established financial infrastructure to gain controlled exposure to crypto assets. And so we have originally a post from 2024 where Vet said absolute unreal traffic currently on the XRP ledger, now processing $40 million in the last 24 hours. Well, guess what? Follow up from that. This will happen again on the XRP ledger and more violent than ever in user activity and volume. Boy, did people shoot arrows at me in 2023 for thinking this. Bear markets are tough for everyone, holders and builders alike. It's insanely powerful and painful, We'll bootstrap the XRP ledger DEX, and there are big initiatives in flight for this on consumer apps, retails, liquidity, etc. I wish a lot more could be said on this already. Reason I still mention it is because people assume no one is caring or thinking about these things. Couldn't be further away from the truth. Aside from this, we need to get better in retaining the always recurring activity spikes in the XRPL during the bull market. I believe that is one of the key factors for a sustained ecosystem is to build up the floor. In order to get XRP holders to use more the XRPL, builders also need to build what holders want. To retain activity, a lot of things are being tackled and have been achieved. Big thanks to RippleX for have been doing the heavy lifting here. From better on-off ramps, quality stablecoins, tokenized equities, real-world assets, the boring and not hyper-speculative stuff that helps to retain liquidity and activity on-chain. XRPL Commons is also offering retroactive funding with Glow and other funding venues for projects. Provide feedback how to improve those programs if you feel they need it. On marketing, exposure, and most importantly, education, I think that's an easy angle. We have the best and strongest community and content creator group in whole crypto. Let's tap into it. I'm personally working at the XRPLF to establish a content creator and education program. Very recently got legal approval to move forward. Nice. Other things we are on are improved amendment process, feature development of things builders need like AMM v2, batch, etc. Go to market, network marketing, monitoring, security, forensics. You see it's very holistic and collaborative across the ecosystem. Our outlook is a very positive one for XRP and the XRP ledger. I'm excited for the times ahead. I know we have something very special here. I know it's also hard work, but I also know we got this. And just in, RLUSD issuer Ripple mints 900,000 tokens on the XRP ledger, expanding stablecoin supply on chain. And from Stellar Rippler, they go on to say that this changes everything for the XRP ledger. The SEC introduces innovation exemption that would allow tokenized versions of stocks like Apple and Nvidia to trade around the clock on blockchain platforms without full registration. The plan is championed by SEC Chair Paul Atkins, who praised Ripple after SEC win, with details expected at Friday's opening meeting. BlackRock's Biddle and JP Morgan have already tokenized U.S. Treasuries on the XRPL. Acetico has tokenized commodities and U.S. equities with direct deposit and withdrawal settlement in XRP. And the past week alone, tokenized gold and stocks on the XRPL ledger have seen more than 10% gains, all on XRP settlement. Ripple already has the full stack of tokenized infrastructure on XRPL: payments, custody, brokerage, collateral management, and now privacy through DNA on-chain's ZK-proof layer. The prolonged suppression of XRP appears to be clearing the path for institutional accumulation before the tokenization era fully begins. Huge RWA tokenization incoming to XRPL. 21 shares XRP ETF just filed its second quarter 10-Q. The numbers, you have XRP held going from 135.6 million to 108.3 million. That's down 20%. With AUM at $247.7 million, down to $112.9 million. Shares outstanding 13.89 million to 11.11 million. And NAV per share $17.83 to 10.16. Heavy redemptions in H1, still holding over 108 million XRP. And XRP longs are still going parabolic, over $1.5 billion worth of longs added since the beginning of August. And looking at the price movement of XRP, let's just go ahead and give you guys an update there. We're now seeing it moving a little bit closer to $1.01. On the day, it was at a high at about $1.01.50. So it's got a little bit of wiggle room. The volume itself was very low yesterday. We saw a comparative level that on Monday. As it is right now, we're looking very, very likely to pass the volume for Wednesday. Whether or not it'll match something like Tuesday, we'll have to wait and see. But potentially we just start seeing little buying pressures pushing this back up. We might see a little selling pressure drop down. But right now it doesn't seem like people are freaking out too much. It's kind of flatlined. Let's go ahead and zoom out even more. Overall with the volume, you guys can see that it has not really moved that much over the course of time. We do have some pretty big spikes that took place back here in June, early part of June, middle of June, and then we zoom out. The biggest moves really happened this year, going from the end of January up to the first week of February. And during that time period, we saw these absolutely massive candles, huge drop, a massive purchase back up, progressively worked its way down, tried to make another run up, back down, make another run up, back down. It keeps trying to find these moments, and it's just not really getting itself that opportunity. And if it drops below $1, again, as I mentioned in my other videos, Fibonacci zone, we're looking at a little bit under 87 cents. And if it goes up, let's break above the median line of the Fibonacci zone, which is at about $1.13, and then try to get above $1.40. And that's what I got for you guys in today's video. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you're new. Thank you so much, everybody. God bless. We'll see you in the next video. Peace.